Hi. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me? This is the first time I'm going live through the YouTube interface here, so hopefully this is working. Give me a thumbs up or put a smiley as a comment if you can see me and hear me because I don't have any idea. I can see myself, but I can't hear myself. Um, so hopefully, hopefully everybody can hear me. If not, then, just let me know in, okay, fantastic. One person said they can see me and hear me. That's wonderful. Well, welcome to my 52nd birthday. 52 years ago today, this refashionista was yanked out of my mother's womb by cesarean section. I'm sure you didn't need to know that, but here we are. So, yanked kicking and screaming out, I'm sure. So, I'm not really sure how we want to do this. You can ask me your refashioning questions, or I can just, go how I was going to go. Well, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. And I am very glad that you're enjoying my channel and welcome to my wonderful world of refashioning. I actually don't know if I've ever really explained how I started refashioning. And the reason that I know that this is easy to do and that I can teach other people to do this is because I taught myself when I was 38 years old. So I was, getting up there already before I even touched a sewing machine. Thank you for the birthday wishes, Maya. Thank you very much. And I only started sewing because I inherited a very, very vintage sewing machine when I was living in Berlin, Germany. And before that, I never, ever, ever, ever thought that I would, touch a sewing machine because I spectacularly failed home economics in high school. And that is, going back to the 80s now when that was still taught in high school. And my teacher, Mrs. Parker, she was so mean and she really, really didn't like me at all. And she let me know it every day. So I did not pass that class. And I was so traumatized by that teacher that I never touched a sewing machine until I inherited that one, how many years later, decades later. And then I just started fixing the stuff that didn't fit me anymore, and it went from there. My friends were like, hey, you're pretty good at this, start a blog. And so I did. Yeah, I know I'm not the only one who failed home ec, but I'm sure there's lots of us, because I also think when you're under that pressure, right, to basically in school, you're performing. And even though I am a performer and that is my, forte, that was my big dream. I was going to be an actor when I grew up. And that's my education and everything. I do think that when you're in the school situation and if you don't have the greatest teachers, it makes life more difficult. And that's what another reason why when I teach, I try to have so much fun and really put that across in my tutorials and everything, because it is so important. And yeah, you're absolutely right, so many teachers can absolutely destroy your self-confidence. And sometimes I do think, what if that teacher had been really encouraging to me? I mean, imagine what my life could have been, if she would have maybe seen something in me way back then, decades ago. Maybe I'd be some big fashion person. But instead I'm a refashionista, which I think actually is a little bit better, isn't it? Because I'm teaching anybody who wants to learn how to do what I do, which is kind of a cool thing, actually. And I so love the fact that so many people watch my tutorials, and it gives them the confidence to give it a try, and I really think, like, all you have to do is grab some scissors and an old t-shirt, right? To get started. That's really all you need, because chop a t-shirt, stretch it at the hem, and you've just made a cute cropped t-shirt with one cut, right? And that's another reason I'm doing the 30 days of refashions again. I did do it back in 2022 for my birthday month, and I just thought, hey, let's do it again for 2025. And so here we are. Actually, the day 14 is today, which isn't so much about a refashioning tutorial, right? It's more about hanging out with me, and we'll see where this conversation is going to go. So any questions you have, feel free to ask away. I have actually a little list here of all of the questions that I usually get from people. Um, yeah, you absolutely can, Mimi. You absolutely can do what I do. As you can see, it's really not difficult at all. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. It is it's just, if you can hand stitch a straight line, if you can then stitch a straight line on your sewing machine, that's all you need to do. I don't have anything fancy. I don't even know how to use a serger, and I'm quite terrified if I were to ever get one that I wouldn't have a clue what to do. I've actually sewn my this finger and this thumb too many times to count. So what items do I like refashioning most? It really depends on the day. Sometimes I really, really, really love things that are more challenging. Like, something that really challenged me a couple years ago, and I still think about it, is the tutorial I made for the patchwork sweater dress, and where I took the two sweaters. One of them has a tiger on it. When this is all done, I'm gonna rewatch it, and I'll go through and I'll put all of the links and tutorials I'm talking about in the description box, so you can come back later, rewatch it, and then get the tutorials that I'm going to be talking about. But it was one, I'm sure some of you remember it, and I really was having a hard time figuring out how to put it together. But my brain really likes that. It really likes to puzzle things together like that. So whenever I'm having to cut things up in interesting ways and figure out how can I fit it all back together, that's what I really love. But something that I am going to admit right now, and I was trying to do something special for my channel members yesterday, and I was working on it's still in the works, so don't worry, you're gonna get it. It's still the works. But I thought, okay, let me do this really cool tutorial for my channel members, and then I'll wear the thing today for my live. And that was my plan. And it was going okay. And I actually have it here in my lap to show you, because I did something that I really shouldn't have done, but it just shows that anybody can make these ridiculously simple mistakes. And, then I have to kind of figure out a different way. So I you might remember this. I thrifted this gorgeous vintage gold dress a few months ago. This was like one of the last things I actually thrifted, because I haven't really been thrifting at all. I'm really leaning into the use what you have to make what you want now. Anyway, so I thought, oh, I'm going to make this into a jumpsuit. And then that's going to be a members only tutorial. How cool is that going to be? And then I can wear it in my live for my birthday. But when I was cutting it, I cut it way too high. So I put it on because, right, I don't use patterns or anything. I just make my cuts and then put it on and see if it works. And this cut here, it's pretty much at my waist. So that's not going to work for a jumpsuit. That would be kind of the most short-waisted jumpsuit ever. And so I'm really going to have to pivot and figure out what I want to make this into, because how disappointing was that? Yeah, that's true. That is definitely why trims were invented. I 100% agree. Um, but yeah, I would love to have this as the jumpsuit still, and I will see if I can. But for the members. And if you're not a member yet, go become a member, and you're going to have access to the members only tutorials. And this one's going to be coming up soon. Hopefully, I'm going to figure it out. Um, my fashion icons, Barbara, let me see. Oh, I think I love Lucille Ball always. It's she her original style with her kind of, big curls in her hair and lots of lipstick. I remember when I was younger, somebody said to me once, "Oh, you wear a lot of lipstick like Lucille Ball." And they meant it as an insult. And I took it as like the greatest compliment ever. But I love her actual fashion, not like what she wore in her movies and the television shows, but how she actually dressed in her private time or when she was in interviews. And it was always really cool, bright colors and patterns and very floaty type of, those butterfly capes and everything. That's like that's how I want to be when I'm maybe a little bit older. I mean, I'm 52. I'm not getting younger, but but I would love to just swan around in those kind of moo and like Mrs. Roper in Three's Company. Those of you who are around my age or maybe perhaps a little bit older will remember Mrs. Roper and her wonderful moo and caftans and all of that kind of stuff. Thank you. Thank you so much, Willow, for the birthday wishes. And who else? Betsy Johnson. I mean, of course, she is an icon. I do have some Betsy Johnson items actually, but I think that the kind of fast fashion manufacturing has gotten to all of the big fashion icons and giants and everything nowadays, right? Because even Betsy Johnson stuff you can basically find at like Marshall's or what do you have in the States? It's not Marshall's, is it TJ Maxx or TK Maxx, something like that? I think TK Maxx was in Germany. Anyway, it's all by the same company. And yeah, so I think a lot of the designers now, TJ Maxx, yes, they're all kind of using this. They all use the same unethical production methods and fabrics and everything, don't they? Really, that's why it's so great that we do what we do and we use what we have and we refashion what we have and we find these amazing vintage fabrics, at the thrift store or swaps or even your neighbor. I mean, it's amazing the stuff that gets thrown out here into the garbage. Most of my house is furnished with furniture from the garbage that I've fixed up and everything. There's a question for you guys. Did you enjoy last week and my home hacks and everything, or do you prefer the refashions more? Hmm. Okay, I'll answer your questions first. Okay, um, my favorite thing to wear. I love this jumpsuit. Of course. And it's even better now. I don't know if you can see it. Actually, I have Refashionista Sheri now. It's like my literal name now. um, I love, of course, when I'm just in my house, I don't dress fancy or anything. Although I have been known to wear some of my cooler refashions when I take my dog out for a walk. Um, I don't go out much. I'm really an introvert, and today, yeah, I look like Refashionista Barbie. um, Today, for my birthday, my daughter took me to the movies, actually, because I'm a Gen X, so that's what we do, right? And we went and we saw the movie The Long Walk. So again, incredibly Gen X because it's based on the Stephen King, the Stephen King novelette or short story, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. The ending, I'm not happy with the ending because they totally changed the ending, but I guess they have to do that, right? When they go from a book to a movie, they sometimes try to make the ending a little bit happier. I don't know. But I didn't think they had to, but it was good. It was good. Highly recommended. And probably it was better if you didn't read the book before, but Again, Gen X, I read that when I was like 8 years old. Um, what inspired me to start refashioning was, um, I yeah, inherited a very old sewing machine when I was 38, and because nothing ever fit me in, clothing stores or off the rack, I just started faffing about with the sewing machine, and again, I taught myself how to use it, which is why I know I can teach other people. Like, all I really knew how to do was, like, the basic mending and stuff, because when I grew up, that's I was like Cinderella in my house. I did the housework and I did the mending. Like, that was my job, right, as the only girl, which thankfully times are changing slowly but surely because that's ridiculous. But that's how it was. So I knew how to hand sew. And here's a not so fun fact: there was a sewing machine sitting in my house when I was growing up, and I was never ever allowed to touch it. Nobody touched it in my house. And if I ever would go to try to sew on it, I got, a spanking or whatever. Which is like so weird. Like, what a weird thing. It was like a decorative sewing machine. I don't know. It totally worked, but just it's just again weird than when you see what I do now. Like, again, imagine if I'd been allowed to experiment when I was a kid with that sewing machine. It wasn't fancy or anything. It was just an old sewing machine. I don't know. Weird. Yeah, so that's how I got started. I inherited a sewing machine when I was almost 40 years old, taught myself how to use it. And I was living in Germany at that time, and my friends were like, "Hey, you're really good at at putting this stuff together, and why don't you start a blog?" And then I did. In 2011, I started a blog, and my very first sewing tutorial on there was how to make um, kind of pants, I guess, for my dog because he had just gotten the snip. And so I made him a little pair of pants so he wouldn't pull at his bandages. And that's the first tutorial on my blog way back in 2011. Oh, oh my goodness. A favorite refashion that I've done. I would have to say there's so many favorites, but I love the bath puff skirt, and I love the faux flower jacket, and I love the one that I recently did for my compilation video about upcycling textiles, linens, and pillowcases. And the new tutorial that I added in that one was the pink quilted kind of club wear, which young Sheri in her 20s would have loved to have had that top back then to go, woo, dance it up at the clubs or a rave or whatever. But now 52-year-old Sheri has it to dance it up in my basement. Ah, um, yeah, anyway, so one more time, I'm gonna ask the question. Do you prefer the home hacks tutorials, or do you like more the clothing refashions? What do you like more? Because I like doing them both, of course. Sometimes it's nice to have a break and do like the home hack ones, so I don't have to constantly be thinking, oh, what am I going to sew? What am I going to make? What am I going to cut? Um, yeah, of course, both. That's that's not helpful to me at all. But I think that's pretty common, that a lot of people like them both. I really was surprised though at was it yesterday? Yes. I'm 30 days of refashions. My brain is mush now from all the projects. I don't, I'm actually doing this a week ahead, so I can tell you that the tutorials I have coming up starting tomorrow for the coming week, it's all clothing tutorials, and they are all absolutely awesome. And I really the last one, I it was really touch and go. The one that I believe is going out next Sunday. I was like, this is not going to work. It's going to look like crap. And even when it was done, I thought, this looks like crap. But then I put it on and I styled it and like, holy crap, it doesn't look like crap. So that's something else that I really think is important too when we're making things is, sometimes, and I know it's not just me, so, and please let me know it's not just me. Sometimes you're making something and you're like almost done and you're really like, oh, I don't know about this. But then you put it on and you brush your hair, maybe put on a little makeup and you style it and it's just awesome. Does that happen to anybody else, or is that like a me thing with my my ADHD brain? I guess. Okay, it's just me, I guess. Okay. I'm just looking here at my list of my common frequently asked questions. Oh, one of them that I get so many times. Yes, me. That is 100% true. We absolutely have to embrace the imperfections. And that's why I always have that mantra going in my head, right? Perfection is the enemy of good enough. And I say it so many times in my videos. And whenever I say that in my videos, that something has gone awry because that's when I'm saying that. I'm verbalizing that to you in the tutorial as much as I am to myself and reassuring myself it's okay, it's good enough, just keep going. And speaking of tutorials, this is a question I get all the time, and it's how long does it take to do my tutorials, like from start to finish? And I will tell you, a tutorial that you watch that's maybe say 5 or 6 minutes long took about 2 days to do, if we count like sourcing the ingredients for it, coming up with the ideas, all of this, even if I'm just grabbing the stuff from my own drawer or my stash or my closet, it all told, the filming, the editing is the worst part. That's the worst part, is sitting here for hours and oh, it just takes forever. Oh, there is a new question. How is my Barbie collection going? Well, because it's, my 52nd birthday. Of course, I got some new Barbie stuff for my birthday. Or sorry, it wasn't new. It's new to me. And that's something else. I really enjoy sharing my Barbies. But those videos don't really get a lot of traction on YouTube. But I'm not going to stop doing them because I love it. And yes, I absolutely will share what I got. I need a bigger space for my Barbies. I think someone in my house has to move out and give me their bedroom so I can have my own Barbie room, because my corner I have here in my little basement studio, it's not big enough. And I'll show you a couple of things if you want to see. I'm going to show you anyway. I got a Barbie plane. And I got this Barbie wardrobe, which is like from the 90s. And I got this one, which is from the 80s. And I got this one, which is from the 2000s. I also got, does anybody know who this is? This is the pooping dog. Do you see here his whoop? See? Ah? So this guy is actually from the mid 90s. So that's pretty cool. And he still has his leash and everything. I can't remember what his name is though, but he looks surprisingly like my dog. Skelly. So I might have to paint him because my dog Skelly is a brindle. He's a mastador, which is a Mastiff Labrador mix, and he has appeared in some of my videos. He is my I won't say he's my new baby boy, but he's new-ish. On October 30th, it will be 1 year since I adopted him, because the year before, my dog Jack sadly crossed the Rainbow Bridge, but he was very old. He was 14, so it was time. He wasn't doing well at all at the end, so it was time. And then waited a little while and saw Skelly on the Toronto Animal Services website, where they have all of their strays that they pick up. And he was a stray and just the cutest little baby boy ever. And he's not little, he's a big Mastiff Labrador, but so he'll be about 2 years old come October, come next month. So, yeah. Okay, Bubba, sorry. Yeah, there is the little poop. It came out before. There. The little tic tac poops. There's only one, but I mean, when you get secondhand things, you can't hope for too much, right? I'm glad there was one though, and I can always just get some tic tacs. They have orange ones. That's close enough, I think. Okay. Oh, right. And I got these two Barbies as well. This one, so I mean, these are relatively new. Sometime in the 2000s for sure. But this one here, I don't know. Maybe somebody knows who she is. I haven't Googled her yet, done the Google Lens or Chat GPT. But she has this on her back. This doesn't look great, I don't think. Like, I don't know what Barbie she is, but I don't know. You see, she looks fairly modern, right? Her the way her features are. But I'm pretty sure this is not the clothes that whatever originally she was. But I don't understand what what's the purpose of that? What could she possibly be doing? I don't know. Some kind of, throwing Barbie, or if you turn it this way, she's like karate chop or spanking Barbie. I don't know. That's what I said. Maybe she was like dominatrix Barbie. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. She's Yeah, I don't know. um if anyone is interested at all, I have put my wardrobe refashionista course, on super sale. It's like $200 off. The link is in the description box. And that whole course ends with a 1 hour personal chat with me. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So if you want to do that and get yourself a gift on my birthday, that would be fabulous, because I want to meet people and I want to help you in person, to do that. Speaking of in person, I am part of Sustainable Fashion Week Canada 2025 this year, which is pretty cool. And it is going to be, hopefully, it's going to be available online, because I'm doing a virtual workshop, because I'm actually not in the same city as where it's being held. So I'm going to be on like a big screen, doing stuff. So I'm not quite sure if it's going to be kind of a link that everybody can get, but I'm going to try to convince them for that. So hopefully then I'll be able to share the link, and then everybody can join the live workshop. So that's pretty cool, I think. And they actually asked me. They came to me. So that's super cool. Finally. Thank you very much. Um I sorry. Blah, blah, blah. The chat's moving kind of fast. Just give me a sec. You're so awesome, Sus. Oh, I wonder who that is. I bet you that's my child. I bet you it is. Oh, yes, my daughter is 14 now. So I believe that is her in the chat there saying that I'm awesome sauce. And you're. Um Are you reading that, my child? Lovely. Also, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone being here because I I don't really have, friends here, and it's really difficult to kind of find your community, It's especially I think the older you get, the harder it gets to find your community, especially as it seems like when normal people get older, they get really stuck in their ways, and I'm not that at all. I'm really like, "Hey, let's try all the new things all the time." And like, let's learn all the new technologies and everything. And um, yeah, so I really, really appreciate having every single one of you here to listen to me blabber on and celebrate my birthday with me. Is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Makes me feel pretty darn special. So thank you very much for that. I'm looking at my list here again to see if there's anything that I missed. Oh yeah, I actually have. You mean like doing like a live tutorial kind of thing. Oh, well, thank you very much, Mimi. Is that your that can't be your name, Mimi, but that's a hilarious username. It really is. It's awesome. um yeah, I actually am saving up my little pennies, which is why people need to buy my stuff so I can buy more technology, because I want to do some more or I want to start doing like live tutorials, like just in an evening type of a thing, just have like easy tutorials. But there's a very specific type of tripod that I want to get, which like follows you and it moves around, and it's not super expensive, but I'm poor, so I can't I can't afford to buy it. And so I'm saving up my pennies right now just to get that, and then I'm going to start doing more live tutorials, like the simple ones that don't take a lot of sewing and stuff. Yes, I know. The one of the recent Refashionista boxes went to the lovely Mea C, who is here, and I was so thrilled when she got this Refashionista box because she has been with me forever, right? Like since the beginning of awesomesaucehattery.com, which is my blog. Um, and it was such a wonderful experience for me as well to go and source the materials. I did share a YouTube short that kind of showed the whole process of how I put together her Refashionista box, and she filled out the form so perfectly with like the measurements and her very specific style and everything, and it's so I can't even like I'm at a loss for words, because for me it's such an amazing feeling, ah, to know that something that I did made made this an even a tiny impact on someone else, and look, as I get teary when I read the nice comments that you guys leave me and stuff as well, because life is hard nowadays, isn't it? Life really sucks nowadays, and it just doesn't get better, does it? And that's another reason why I really put so much time and effort and thought into my tutorials, into my courses, into my books, into my Refashionista boxes, which again, the Refashionista boxes are just, it's literally me. Like when you get that, I make something just for you, to your measurements, to your specifications that you put in the form and everything. And it's it's a really lovely, lovely, heartwarming feeling. I feel like I sound like a little old lady right now, but it really is. Like, to know that something that I made went to that specific person, in this case, Maya, and she really loved it. Like, genuinely, I did the right thing and I made the right thing and I chose the right fabric, and I put everything together, and it's just really, really cool to be able to put my heart into something and have it be appreciated. Um, it's great. It's an amazing feeling, and I'm sure you guys know that too. Like, everybody, we're all makers here, right? We all make things. Like, you wouldn't be here if you didn't want to make things with me. so so even if it's just something like an old wooden bowl that you spray painted, it's like, it's just an amazing feeling to make something, and then it's even an even greater feeling when you make something for someone else. I mean, it is for me. there are there are things that, of course, I never want to give away because I made them for me and they're mine. but, but there's other things, like, again, my Refashionista boxes, where the entire process, it's not about me at all. It's about the person who is buying this, and some of them I sell, it's just like a small little box because they just want some accessories that I make for them, because that's something else I do. I take apart jewelry and put it back together, and there's, again, there's lots of different choices that you could choose from of my Refashionista boxes, and it's such a lovely thing to get to do and make for somebody else. It's wonderful. Um, what are yours? What are your favorite tutorials of mine? Is there anything in particular from the 30 days of refashions, or maybe an older tutorial that you guys are really into? You think for a minute. I have some water. Huh? No? Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of tutorials. Yeah, t-shirt scraps. Willow actually made, or sorry, is Jessica W. Turner is her name here, not Willow, sorry. She actually made a pair of the lounge pants from a skirt from my tutorial and sent me the picture, and they're awesome. And that's something else that is so, so freaking amazing, when you show me the stuff that you made from your tutorials. I love that so, so, so much. Um, I recently did one of my virtual wardrobe audits with a lady from Germany, which is very cool. And that's where, she did her DIY wardrobe audit, and then we had our call, and she showed me the things that she was wondering what to do with, and then I made a list of all the tutorials, and the next day I sent her a nice PDF file. But the coolest thing was, during her um during her call, her daughter, who is like around the same age as my daughter, came in the room a little bit shy and everything, and they were saying that her daughter actually started a kind of eco fashion club in her school, which is so cool because she loves what I do so much. So every couple of months they do clothing swaps, they pick one of my tutorials and they do my tutorials. It's like the coolest thing ever. So I had her bring some of her items. She wasn't sure how to refashion some of her shirts, and I gave her some tutorials and an extra little PDF file I sent over for the daughter as well. But like it's so nice to know that, I do make a difference, even though sometimes when I'm filming my tutorials and stuff, it doesn't feel like that, you know. But it's good to know that it does help people, and especially what I get messages on TikTok, because that's where all the youngsters are, right? They and I get literal like DMs, direct messages from kids who have maybe not a great home life, or they're struggling in other areas, and say that my easy tutorials and stuff really help them. So that's pretty awesome as well, to know that there's people out there that it's not just like entertainment, or hey, let's have some fun and make something. Sometimes it really helps them in a difficult position in their life. So that's great. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you so much. And also, Sandra, thank you for always commenting on my Facebook posts. You have no idea. That is just so lovely, sincerely. And oh, that's something else. I don't know, if a lot of people know this. If you're not like a content creator, how would you know this? But with the algorithm, right? And the algorithm is basically the internal computer system that categorizes everything and basically picks, hey, this is going to be popular. This, no, we're going to ignore this. And the way that it does that, each platform is kind of different. But the way that it does that is by, likes, shares, comments. And that's why you will always see creators saying, hey, subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, because all of those little bits of engagement really tell this, mysterious algorithm that, oh, this content is worth to send out to more people. And it does. And when it gets sent out to more people, of course, more people watch, more people subscribe, and it all, helps everything behind the scenes. So sometimes, even if you don't like something, give it a thumbs down. Fantastic. It's engagement. Like, another question that I get a lot is, of course, about the trolls. And it's something, just one second. La Lulus. Is that, I hope I'm saying that right? La Lulus. That's a cool username. Yeah, it's really strange, eh? Like I do get a lot of new subscribers and new people to my channel, or Facebook or TikTok, and they say, how do I not know about you before? You've clearly been doing this for a while. It's like, yeah, I have. I've been doing it for over a decade. And it is very strange what the algorithm decides we should see and we shouldn't see. And I think it's just, sometimes it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall, right? And you just got to see what sticks. And that's why, again, another reason I'm doing the 30 days of refashions for September is, hopefully the algorithm is going to see, oh my goodness, she's putting out like a long form video every day, 2 YouTube shorts, a community post, and pick up on that. I mean, of course, I can't do this every single month, because it's really crazy to do brand new tutorials every day. It's absolutely nuts. But I'm hoping that this is going to give me a little bit more of a push. But the best thing, of course, is for you guys to like, comment, share, right? And of course, tell all your friends to subscribe. That's like the best thing. um Thank you so much, Willow. Willow is another person who, she started out as a fan. I hope I can say that. And then over the years, it turned into a very close friend of mine. And very, very freaking unfortunate that we live in different countries. And we always have. It's like she's in the States and I was in Germany, and then I moved to Canada. She's still in the States. So, and that's not somewhere where we're going to be going anytime soon, unfortunately, for reasons, right? That everybody can figure out. But knowing again, this is something else that is so wonderful about being online and having this kind of community. And again, I cannot thank you guys enough for being here. This is again, I'm gonna get all teary again. It's embarrassing. I like I said, I don't have anybody. I just have I don't have friends. I don't, I wish I had, friends that I could invite over and have them here in my little studio and we could do cool stuff together, but I just don't have that. And I think I actually don't really care that I don't have that in person because I do have a community with you guys online here, right? Which is almost better in a way because we can shut each other off if we want to. Like the trolls always like to say how I'm annoying and my voice is annoying and why do I talk like that? Oh goodness, it's just um that is something else that it used to kind of, I won't say it ever got to me, the trolls, and I think because I was an actor and a model, so, water off a duck's back. Had years of rejection in the entertainment business, um, and usually the trolls are pretty harmless and ridiculous. There are some that are incredibly vile, and, those are not the ones that I put on my characters and have fun on my troll time playlist there with them. So yeah, sometimes they're kind of creepy and scary. But the ones that I can answer, um, okay, Willow, stop. You're making me more teary-eyed now because I'm reading that in my again. Does anybody else do that? You can do like 500 things at once. I think all women can, right? That's our superpower. But I really think that w- the trolls are a phenomenon that I will never ever in my life understand, and I think that's a really good thing, right? Is when I get a troll comment, sometimes I don't even know it's there until somebody else comments, which is always the funniest when you guys like respond to a troll for me. That's like the best. um In the back end of YouTube, though, there is, like, a whole section, it's called community blah, and I can see, like, all of the normal-ish comments that it doesn't hold, and then there's a section called for held comments, and in there every day, it is awful, and sometimes, like, totally fine comments get held because they have whatever word that the algorithm maybe thinks is not a good word or something is misspelled that the algorithm then turned it into a bad word. I don't know. So the unfortunate thing is I have to read through the comments because I do have to then let the good ones, I have to release them from being held. And sometimes, oh, I don't know what goes into somebody's head to write this stuff. Like why do you think I should die because I cut into that shirt? Like it's the weirdest, the w- it's weird. Or of course, then there's a lot of pervs out there, like a lot of pervs. And I also get questioned. When I do my walk down the stairs at the end, that takes so long. You have no idea how long that takes to do. But it's like a workout because I got to go up and then sometimes, Skelly, my dog, will run up the stairs and it's like, oh, okay, that take is done. Then I got to go back. Or at the get to the bottom of the stairs and I trip. Those ones are really fun. Uh, but I like the stair walk because it shows the whole outfit Do you know what I mean? It shows it like from the top all the way up to the bottom. So it's like the perfect setting to show the entire look when it's finished. Anyway, I totally lost my train of thought. I know I was talking about trolls and then I started talking about the stairs and it's gone now. I don't know. Oh, right. Um, so with the I get a question a lot about my shoes because I do have an extensively awesome shoe collection. I know this. Shoes, bags, you know my vintage dresses are I had to build that whole closet out of an old ladder to hold my vintage dresses, just my vintage dresses and refashion dresses. Um, but when I do the stair walk, I if I'm wearing no shoes, I learned the very hard way I shouldn't do that because the comments, what is it with these people and feet? I don't know. And there's also certain shoes that I would like to wear because they go with the outfit, but then I can't wear them because I know I'm gonna get ugh, these really disgusting comments. And I do often get asked, "Hey, can you share your shoe collection?" And it's like, I'm scared to share my shoe collection because I don't want to even think of the type of comments that I'm going to be getting because it's so gross. It's so gross. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'd be a millionaire if I sold feet pics. I don't know. Ah, anyhow, I think this, yeah, I'm taking the conversation into a weird town. But again, that's what I deal with behind the scenes are those kind of comments. And I think that's another reason why I started doing the troll times is because it was also a really good way for me to respond to these trolls, but also do it in such a way where I was using my improv and acting skills and, becoming my staff of characters. And that's something else. It's amazing how many people really hate my staff of characters. Which I don't get it. I think Guy is awesome. I would definitely hang out with every single one of them. Chantal as well. Esther, of course, is amazing. And Frau Inge. I mean, all good. They're all good characters and they all live in my brain and in over there you can't see, but I have all of my character wardrobe hanging up over there. And yeah, when I first started doing them, my kiddo was younger, and she would come in the bathroom when putting on Guy, and she would just come in and go, "Oh, not Guy again." um Oh, speaking of makeup, etc., I have some really cool Halloween ideas coming up for next month. And I'm just wondering, would you like me to do a Halloween tutorial like every Friday? Should that be next month's kind of the entire month theme? Should be spooky Halloween, not necessarily spooky. I mean, if you've watched any of my Halloween tutorials, they're not all spooky. There's only a couple. Um, but I did get that very angry email that time, which I believe is in the troll time. Was it last year? Maybe Frau Inge answered that lady who really was angry at me for sharing how to do, brains and scars and all of that kind of makeup. But again, that's kind of a cool thing that I used to, be an actor and do really low budget stuff because I got to learn how to do those really cool things with what I have. Who knew that like toilet paper and white glue could make brains and scars? Now everybody knows because I shared the tutorial. Yeah, I think um I think definitely some Halloween ideas will be coming up. Um, but I could also do like I did, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where I did like two tutorials in one. So it was like, here's how you could style this. It's like a normal everyday look, but then here's how you would do it if you're using the same tutorial to create your Halloween costume, right? That works as well. Then I guess we're making everybody happy. But something that I really have been wanting to try, I think from the 80s. So a while. I love horror, by the way. That's like horror is my jam. Um, Horror movies, love them. Love it, love it, love it. Horror shows, brilliant, as long as they're good and have a story. Um, but something that I wanted to do was like Freddy Krueger, but like my way. So like Frederica Krueger. So I think that might have to be a tutorial because I think that would be pretty cool. Like to make the glove, like to make the glove, right? Like from an old leather glove, that would be cool. That would be cool. But I guess you couldn't use real knives, right? That no. Thank you, Paula. I'm glad you enjoy the staff. I enjoy visits from my staff because it gives me a break from myself. Which I think is always a good thing, right? Um, Sorry, I keep catching sight of my little notes that I made here. So this was literally I took like top questions that I've gotten and put them in the in the list here. And um a big one is where do I get my ideas? And I honestly couldn't tell you. Like when I say when I'm plugging my join my wardrobe revolution course, blah blah blah, and I say like I'll open my Refashionista brain and share it with you during our chat. That's literally what what it is like for me. Like right now, I can look anywhere and see, oh, there's like some faux fur coats over there, and I have like 20 different ideas of what I can do with them. Plus, I'm paying attention here. Plus, thank you, Sandra, and happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to every September birthday who may be here, by the way, not just me. And happy early or belated birthday to everybody that is here. Um, yeah, my ideas just come and I can't shut it off. And a lot of the times I really wish I could shut it off, like especially when I'm trying to go to sleep at night, which is why I'm very glad I discovered ASMR. And I know ASMR is something that you either love it or you hate it or you just like, I don't get it. Uh, but for me, it really does calm my thoughts, especially at night, and lets me be able to go to sleep at least for a little while. But I usually just wake up, between 4 and 5 in the morning, and my brain's already going. Like it's just, um, so yeah, I wish I knew where I got my ideas, and I wish there was a switch to shut them off. Which is why I think I would be so great on like a TV show or something, right? Because just put me in front of an old palette and I'll turn it into a playhouse, which I did, by the way. And the tutorial is on my blog. We made a playhouse out of an old bed and a couple of wooden pallets. And I also made a sandbox out of an old dresser. And a climbing frame we made out of some pieces of old wood and some ladders. Um, yeah, lots of again, it's not just clothes, it's like everything in my head. Um, it's quite exhausting sometimes, but it's also really fun. I guess if I wasn't like this, I wouldn't be able to have my channel or the social media or anything. Yeah, refashions are definitely my forte. They for sure are. Is there anything in particular that you would like me to refashion? Like, is there anything that you have right now sitting in your closet that you're just like, I don't know what to do with this? Let me know. If there is something in particular, it doesn't have to be right now. You can always send me an email, like at hello@refashionistasheri.com. That's pretty easy. That's my email address. You just got to spell my name right. But it is in all of my usernames. It's spelled correctly, so it's not that hard. But some people can't spell my name right. I don't know why. Oh, yeah. Wow. I've been like talking for an hour about myself. This is bizarre. But like I said, I really hope to be able to do some like more live tutorials. I just have to get that funky follow you everywhere tripod, and then I'll be able to do that because it's really cool. Like it literally follows your hands and stuff, which is awesome. Um, oh, somebody asked me what was my worst thrift find ever, like the worst thing I ever found in the thrift store. And it's I've often found gross stuff in the thrift store, but I think the absolute worst thing that I have found was like a full poop, like this big, in a pair of pants. And I don't know how that got hung up on the rack, but it did. Um, oh, a floor length leather coat. That sounds awesome, actually. Why do you want to refashion it? That sounds fantastic. I mean, with leather, there's like so many things that you can do with it. Of course, you can make tons of bags and stuff. It all depends on how thick it is. But wow, is it like a matrix style leather coat? Because that's awesome. I mean, like Matrix from the 90s, right? Like, again, I'm an old person, so that's I think that's awesome. And also, when I was in my 20s in the 90s, vintage leather coats were like the shit. You had to have vintage leather coats, and back then, thrift stores sold them for like $3. So now you go to the thrift store and it's, 74.99 for a ripped vintage leather coat, which is like, what are you doing? Which is a whole other conversation. I think maybe we should do a live where we just complain about thrift stores and stuff. I think that would be fun to do because there's so much to complain about. So much. Oh, a regular leather coat that no longer fits. Okay, well, you know what? I keep looking over there because I literally have a kind of butter colored leather coat that I'm going to do something with. So watch out for that tutorial, me. That will be coming up probably November time because it's still super hot here. So I don't want to work with leather right now. And I still have 30 days of refashions. So I got my work cut out for me. Oh, and Halloween month, right, to coming up. Um, yeah, I think complaining about thrift stores, I'm gonna do it right now because there is actually a by the pound thrift store, which there's so like none of those in Toronto, and one of them opened up actually not too far from my area. And so the kiddo and I were like, hey, let's go there on the opening day, which was this past Friday. And we did. And the very first thing, I couldn't even believe it when we were walking up to the front door. There was like two dudes they were clearly like the general managers or something in their kind of cheap looking suits, but they're standing there smoking right in front of the doors. Like, what? Like it was so tacky and awful. And in Canada, you're supposed to be, like 100 meters away from the front door of any establishment. You can't smoke in front of the doors. But it was just really like what an awful first impression. And then when we went in there, it was very neat. I will give them that. But it was just like, I don't know, maybe I haven't been to the bins enough in my life because nowhere I lived really had them. But it was just like, and you can tell me if this is how it is, like just kind of, even though everything was like labeled, it was still just like everything thrown in. And there was people there wearing like really thick, like leather gardening gloves. So I'm guessing that's something that you should do, like when you're digging through in case there's something, I don't know, like poop in pants. I don't know. Is this what you do when you go to those type of places? Um, the price didn't seem too bad. It was like $3.50 per pound. But I mean, again, like jeans are going to be more than a pound probably, right, in weight. Again, I don't know why they do pound instead of kilograms. We're Canadian. But yeah, it was, and then they have like a 3 pound minimum as well. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I've never, way back in the day, there was Goodwill by the pound in Canada, but we're going like way back when I was like a teenager, so yeah, 100 years ago. Um, and I only went there a couple of times, and it was like super manky, and it was 25 cents per pound back then, which is awesome, but it was pretty manky. So yeah, you guys will have to let me know. Those of you in the States anyway, because I don't, I'm not really sure if there is any other kind of by the pound ones in Canada. Um, I know that Goodwill isn't really around anymore. Something about how they weren't really following the rules as far as treating their employees properly. But again, that's kind of how Goodwill operates, right? which which isn't great, but it is what it is. I did share, I think in a YouTube short, somebody had commented on one of my TikToks. And the cool thing on TikTok is if somebody comments, you can respond to their comment with like a video, and then it shows the comment and then you respond. Anyway, so I shared that on the YouTube shorts, and they were commenting about how resellers have put all the prices up in thrift stores. So I, did my little rant there about how they didn't. And then somebody commented on YouTube talking about how thrift stores have all of their overhead costs and all of this. And I did a little bit of education there and explained, thrift stores and charity shops also get all these government benefits, and they have volunteers. And so they're not really paying their staff. And like, apparently in the States, Goodwill doesn't even have to pay their staff properly because they employ people who have a handicap of some sort. Like I read article. I was like, what? Like, what is happening in the world? Like, what? And then also in the States and in Canada, if you commit a crime, but it's not like a violent crime, like a murder, I'm guessing, um, then as part of your parole and your community service, you can volunteer at like the Salvation Army and Goodwill and charity shops as part of your community service hours. So they literally have free staff and tax breaks and rent breaks and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, the argument that thrift stores have to pay overhead and they have to pay all of this, it doesn't work, because every business has that, but not every business gets free labor, super tax cuts, rental, discounts, and all of this kind of stuff. It's just like, it's nuts. And I I wasn't super surprised about the community service hours, because a like one-off thrift store that I did some work with last winter, they actually, that's how they get a lot of their back room staff, which is, great, fine, cool, that's okay. But that is just something else that people need to take into consideration, when they're defending thrift store pricing, is that like they get free labor. I mean, even if you just think like the people who volunteer, they go to the Salvation Army and they simply volunteer from the goodness of their heart. That's still free labor. So I don't know of any businesses like you can't go in Starbucks or McDonald's and there's a volunteer worker there. I don't think. I hope not anyway. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in the States eventually, but but yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I know because I lived in Germany, and they're so for the worker there, which is fantastic. So even in the charity shops and everything, it's not volunteers, they're people who make a proper wage, like a living wage you know and something else that really shocked me when I came back to Canada. Those of you who don't know, I am Canadian. I just lived around the world a lot. um, and so when I came back to Canada, I was genuinely shocked at the the amount of garbage that the thrift stores produce, that they just chuck. Because in Germany, and they still do this to this day, I checked on the website, they have at least twice a month they do €1 days, and that's where every article of clothing is €1 or less, and their regular prices for any kind of clothing, nothing was over $5. The shoes, like even jackets, nothing. The furniture, nothing was over $20. Um, in Germany, when you move into a house, apartment, a rental, um, there's no kitchen, there's no light fixtures. It's in North America, that would be unheard of, that there wouldn't be like a sink and cupboards and everything. So the only thing that's in there is like the hookups, and of course there's like a toilet and the shower in the bathroom, but other than that, you got to bring everything with you. And that is because in a lot of European countries, people rent like forever. You live there forever, right? It's buying your own property has never been a major thing like it is in North America. Although in North America, I mean, who can afford to buy anything nowadays? Certainly not me. Um, but we got our entire kitchen, cupboards, everything when we moved rental houses from a Socialladen, from a charity shop there, for $80 or €80. Like all the cupboards, double sink, the counter, like the drawers, every single, for only €80, which that's pretty impressive pricing. So, um, I do wish that the thrift and charity shops here were more like that, where their whole kind of ethos is that, yes, they want donations, but they want those donations to be coming in and going out, and not going to the landfill, and definitely not going, to the big, here outside of the value villages. And if you don't believe me, there is a picture of this on my blog. They have a big like a hay baler machine. Anyone who has been around farms knows what I'm talking about. You put the hay in the one end and it comes out in a bale, a big square bale in the other end. They literally have those outside of Value Village. And it is because that's where they put a lot of the stuff. Only 10 to 15% of donated items make it out onto the floor, which is nuts to me. And in Value Village, at least, the stuff that they're chucking, they put in these big hay balers, and it makes it in these big bales, and then it goes into these kind of cages, and then these trucks come pick up these full cages and take it to where? The landfill. So all donating is doing is adding a middleman to the garbage, right? That's all it's doing. I mean, this is why nowadays I always suggest that the best thing that you can do is check your local area for, any kind of shelters, homeless shelters, domestic violence shelters, if there's children's shelters, animal shelters, and look on their websites. They will usually have a section saying what they need, and then you can literally gather up those things from your donation pile, take it there, and you know it's gonna go somewhere good, right? Um, oh, yeah, correct, Mia. Anywhere other than a thrift store. Oh, something that I frequently do is, you have if you have a kid especially, they maybe outgrow things like their smelly markers or coloring books or all of that kind of stuff. And since the beginning of my child, whenever she's outgrown that stuff or doesn't want it anymore, I take it to the local community center, and they always love it. Just this past summer, I took this huge bag of like markers and colored pencils and crayons because she uses pastels and charcoal now. Don't you know? We do not use markers and crayons anymore, mother. Anyway, so, and they're thrilled to get it, right? Because that stuff costs money, and they don't have the money to constantly be replacing crayons, colored pencils, paper especially is something that they love to get at the community centers where, where they do like after school classes. That's something else. You can contact your local elementary schools and say, hey, do you need any of this stuff? Because I got a whole big bag of it. And 99% of the time they'll say, thank you very much. When can you drop it off? But to answer the polyester question, I think um, I love polyester. And I guess that's because I was born in the 70s. And so for me, I mean, how many vintage refashions do I have? Right? Like tons. And anytime it's anything vintage, it's like 100% thick polyester. That's just how it was in like the 70s, really. And I really enjoy working with vintage polyester because, first of all, when you cut it, it doesn't fray. So, yay, it can be a no-sew project. But also, the colors are so vibrant and they stay so vibrant. So, I much prefer to refashion and rework those items into something that I will wear, or maybe someone else wants it, from my closet or whatever. And then it's for sure going to be worn and still used, which is so much better than spending 1,000 years in the landfill where it's not going to biodegrade. I don't know if you can hear my dog Skelly's seems to be having a party upstairs by himself. So if you hear any sort of that's him. Um, anyway, um, but yeah, I think especially vintage polyester is awesome to refashion. Not to wear necessarily in any sort of hot weather, but it's great for the winter. And it's also really good for making like sturdy bag linings and stuff like that because it's like indestructible, isn't it? so, so I do like working with vintage polyester. New polyester, like the fast fashion stuff, ugh, I really don't like that. It's like slippery, it's annoying. Somehow they took polyester and made it so much worse. I don't understand, but it frays, it's just awful. And or rayon is another one I don't even think rayon should be legal because it's just like plastic chemical, right? Rayon is not good. Any more questions about fabrics? That is definitely that is something that is I go over to a huge extent in my wardrobe revolution. Is there's like a whole section about fabrics, and I cut fabrics and show all these different fabrics and explain why I think this is good and this is not so great to work with. But again, I think that is something else that is so interesting when you start working with fabrics, right? Um, yeah, rayon is super soft, but it's super soft because yeah, it's chemically, right? And it's the same. Um, Anybody else who kind of grew up in the 80s, 90s, like I did, will probably remember when first came out, and it was like, oh, this amazing fabric, and oh, it's like lamb soft, and here's baby blankets of this and all of this stuff, only to then later on now we get to find out like, oh, fleece is made out of a lot of different chemical compositions, right? And when you think about, there's so many, thank you so much, Willow. Love you, dear. We shall chat soon. uh, but fleece is not great, and they even now say, oh yes, well, this fleece is made out of, recycled plastic bottles, and it's, wow, okay, so you've taken something that's bad, and then you've recycled it into something that we put on our bodies, which is not great, right? Again, it's if you really stop and think about about just everything in the world nowadays is apparently going to kill us. Which is terrible. And I think, again, Gen Xers and Zennials and Millennials, we really got the worst of like every sort of this new chemical. Let's try it out on this generation. For real, we did. We did. Um, like that apricot scrub for our faces that we all have these micro tears in our skin. And they don't sell it anymore because it was that bad. But we all used it, right, in our teenage years. um, but yeah, there's just so many things that sometimes my brain goes off into little tangents, and it's just like, what can we eat anymore? What can we wear anymore? Like nothing. And this is another reason why I love vintage so much, because hey, at least like this is my jumpsuit here is from 1983 is when this was made. I actually managed to find this exact advertisement and everything for this. It was 1983, and it's 100% cotton, which is great. It's really thick, and I'm getting sweaty here, but it's great. And when I thrifted this, I thrifted this online last year, the year before. There's a whole thing on my channel, and it was not in good shape. And I did share all the things that I had to do for it and fix it and everything. But now it's my Refashionista uniform, and this color, this fuchsia, is actually my Refashionista color. I even have the code. It's FE137A if anyone wants to steal this Refashionista fuchsia pink for anything. That's the color code. Like we've been here for over 2 hours now. I yes. Is anybody else having to wear readers, by the way, now? Now that age is catching up? I only have to wear these lovely dollar store readers if things are close to my face. If things are far away, I can see like an eagle still. But I think it's getting to be close to my bedtime, and we absolutely must do this again, because it's fun. But I think next time we're going to plan a bit more, and I'm going to get like actual. Can you hear that? Seriously, I think Skelly's murdering up there. It's crazy. So if anybody has a good idea of how I can fix this. Oh, I'm so disappointed that I cut this too high for the jumpsuit. Maybe a wrap top? I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to make this a members only tutorial. So whatever I do to it, you should definitely join my Refashionista circle here on YouTube, and you get you know tutorials nobody else gets, and other cool stuff too. So yeah, join. It's like $2. So cool. Um, but yes, I will have a very good night, and I thank you so much for joining me for my 52nd birthday. Seriously, I'm 52. I can't believe it. I can't believe I've lived so long. Um, but yeah, I think, oh yeah, wrap or peplum top definitely would work for that. Um, readers on top of multifocal contact lenses. I'm not quite there yet. We'll see. We'll see in the future. I certainly hope my 52nd year is going to be the best year yet. I mean, it's definitely, you know, every year is getting better, right? And I think that also comes with the wisdom of growing older, which is something that not everybody gets. So I am quite grateful that I am able to be 52 for sure. But thank you so much once again. And um, stay tuned because tomorrow is yet another, it will be day 15 of the 30 days of refashions. I think for the rest of my birthday, I'm gonna go wash my face, brush my teeth, take my HRT for my perimenopause, and go to bed. Maybe watch another horror movie. I don't know, but we'll see. Oh, I have tiramisu in the fridge, so I'm gonna eat that now. I think. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow, hopefully, for the brand new tutorial, and of course, every single day after that for the rest of September. And let's do this again. Let me know when we should do this again. You know, leave me a comment on another video, send me an email, hello@refashionistasherry.com. And also remember my wardrobe refashionista is on sale just for today only. So the link is in the description. Go check it out, see if you want it. And I will catch you on the zigzag.